So I'm going to provide an explanation on what artificial intelligence is and the ethical and political issues that usually come up in discussions concerning this topic. My goal with this is to hopefully convince you into believing that artificial intelligence, for the most part, really is beneficial to people. So, before diving into the intricacies of AI, we can start out by defining it as a very broad branch of computer science that's mainly about machines being given the ability to think and behave like humans. So, if you're a curious person, then right now you're probably wondering, how in the world can you make a machine think or act like a person? And I know it sounds kind of magical, but it really isn't. So what I'm going to do is switch over to the NetBeans IDE to give you a visual representation of what AI is and how it can be implemented. What we have here is a chatbot program that I've coded using Java. And for those of you who don't know, a chatbot is basically a computer that has the ability to communicate with people through text. And so in this case, the problem that artificial intelligence addresses is how to get a computer to respond to a person that can essentially write or ask anything. So what we've created here is a table that's going to contain a set of values that a user can input or type into the program, and then a set of values that the bot can respond appropriately with. So, say a user was to type in, hey, or hi, what's up, sup, what's Gucci, any of these things, then the bot could respond with any of the values in this row. Then we have a few questions that may be asked by a person. So what is your name? How old are you? If the person asks any of these questions, then the bot will respond with, I don't know, why are you asking all these questions, or anything in this row. So the problem that we may hit is, suppose a user doesn't ask or doesn't greet using any of the values that we have in our data. What's going to happen? Well, to solve that problem, we've added a default row so that if nothing that the user enters is similar to or equal to any of these, of the content in these two rows, then the bot will just skip down to the default row and return something that's in this row. So that's how we've gotten over that issue. Now, as you can see, our data is quite limited, so the default row would or should contain a lot of values, but for the sake of time, we're going to leave it as is. And I'll show you the searching algorithm that's used. So basically, the way that we search through our value or our data is by looking at all the even rows and then returning something from an odd row. So basically, in computer science, usually rows start at 0. So 0, and then 1, and then 2. So if anything that the user enters is in row 0, then we're going to return something in an odd row, which is the next odd row is 1. And if 0, 1, 2, if something from row 2 is found, then we're going to return something from row 3. And of course, if nothing is found in any of these even rows, then we're just going to return something from the default. So that is basically how artificial intelligence works in general. It's just data being compared against data, and the computer uses this data to provide very intelligent assumptions and responses to many different cases. And that's basically the gist of it. So now what we can do is test our program to see if it actually does what we think it should do. So I'm going to run it, and hopefully our bot will show some intelligence. So suppose we say to the bot, and we're playing the part of the person, of course. Suppose we say, hello. We see that the bot responds with konnichiwa, which is an appropriate greeting. Let's try something else. What if we say, how do you do? Then the bot will respond with hey, which is a greeting as well. So we can see that the greetings work. Now let's try a question. Suppose we say, how old are you now? And if you remember, the phrase, how old are you, was something that we prepared for. And adding on the now won't change that. So as long as the computer can recognize this phrase, then it should have an appropriate response and not give us something completely random. So let's try. How old are you now? That's personal. So as you can see, the chatbot is actively and very intelligently following this conversation and providing the appropriate responses. So it appears that our program worked, and that's basically how artificial intelligence works. From the chatbot example that I've shown you, we've seen that machines can be given the ability to make decisions on their own. So now, the question that we might ask ourselves is, how can we tell if a machine is making the right decision? And so going back to our example, we could say that the worst thing that could have happened if our chatbot had made a wrong decision would have been for a person to get back an unsatisfying response. So seriously speaking, there's no harm done to the person communicating with the bot. But now, in another scenario, what if a machine was given the task of feeding and caring for an elderly individual at, say, a nursing home? And what if the elderly individual refused to eat food? Remember, it's the machine's duty to feed the person, but does that mean they should force them to eat? So what we can see is, in situations like this, it's imperative that the machine should have some way to tell if a decision is morally permissible or not. In an article from the Nature Scientific Journal, a group of professionals within the AI field proposed that engineers and programmers work together with ethical committees to ensure that intelligent machines perform in accordance to ethical standards. Now, collaborations like this can help to promote the creation of intelligent systems that appear less machine-like because their judgments will be based more on human values. The fact of the matter is that we just can't create the perfect AI systems as of yet, but a composition of science and ethics can help us develop intelligent machines capable of making morally permissible decisions over time. These collaborations are especially necessary when politics are involved. And a prime example of a political issue is the development of autonomous weapons. For those who don't know, these machines are designed to take out enemies without the need of human operator. Now, these machines are very effective, but their use brings up a couple of ethical flags. One of the main issues is that these systems have no way of distinguishing between enemies and civilians, as well as comrades. This, of course, causes unwanted bloodshed, which most would agree is morally impermissible. We've talked about some of the ethical and political issues pertaining to artificial intelligence, and so now we'll look at some of its benefits. Productivity. It just so happens that when a machine is programmed to do a specific or simple task, the job can be done efficiently and accurately. Then we have fast. Intelligent machines can analyze data and information at high speeds. This ability can be used for analyzing data in medicine or statistics, which could lead to cures for diseases and other groundbreaking discoveries. So what we can tell is that machines are definitely things that come in handy when we use them appropriately. Earlier, we defined artificial intelligence as a branch of computer science that deals with machines gaining the ability to think and behave like humans. Now you might ask, why would anyone want to deal with a machine that's just pretending to be a human? And one answer that I could give you is that time is important, and nothing is more troublesome than having to think or deal with an unnecessary problem. So, surprise, that's where AI comes in. Let machines do the basic work so that we can use our time to do better things.